Hey there, welcome to my channel, Forever Altered. I have a little bit of a strange topic today, I guess. Not even sure how to approach it, but I'm just going to talk and see where it ends up. I would like to talk today about how many of us have considered cheating on our narc. Cheating is looked at as a negative thing for a lot of reasons, a lot of obvious reasons, and in most cases I would agree that it is. I was married before this relationship. I was married almost 25 years and I was faithful. Because in a real relationship, in a healthy relationship or a mostly healthy relationship, everybody has problems. I think fidelity is an integral part of it. It is a very important part of it. But having lived with a narcissist for almost 5 years now, I question my own commitment and fidelity to a relationship that isn't a relationship. My narc pretty much follows exactly by the book to what I hear others talk about, with the gaslighting and the verbal abuse and the never being happy for any of your accomplishments. Always being angry and blaming you and really wanting you to be a duplicate of them. So whenever you step out of that role of how they would respond or what they would say or what they would do or what they envision as the perfect person in their eyes, then you're on their shit list, so to speak, and all hell breaks loose. Living like that on a daily basis, day in and day out, trying to keep peace in the home, trying to counteract his behaviors and cover, which you do a lot of covering for them. You at a certain point, you begin to think everybody's tired of hearing how bad your life is, so you start making up everything's fine, and so you start to cover for them just so that your family and friends don't worry about you. So my situation, having been in almost 5 years, I knew within a year, probably sooner, that this was not the relationship for me, and literally have wanted out since then. There is a small part of me that loves him, I guess, but I've gone through the whole process of the the complete shock of finding out who he really was. When I ran across the term narcissist, and I'm like, oh my God, he does this, he does this, he does, I had never ever come across a person like him. He's the very first person I've ever come across that was narcissistic. And I worked in mental health for 9 years, and I worked with a lot of different people, a lot of different diagnoses, but never a narcissistic person. So, for the first several months, I was mortified and shocked and spent a lot of time crying and a lot of time trying to prove to him that I wasn't the bad person he kept saying I was. And I spent a lot of time listening to him call me every name in the book, and I still do. He still does this, but maybe not to the same degree. It used to go on for hours, literally hours, into days, and then it got to where I got to a point where I'd cried every tear I had, and I couldn't reconcile in my head, why would someone think these things of me? Like, I've always had good relationships with people. I've never had problems like this. How could this person be so wrong? And I just need to prove to them that I'm not a cheater and that I am a good person and that, I don't have men in and out of here, and all the things he would say that were just so out of character for anybody that knew me, that they would never ever say those things about me. And I began to doubt, was this what I really look like? Is this what people think? I mean, it was difficult. But then as you come to a point and you educate yourself and you begin to understand that it isn't you. You're right. It isn't you. It is not you. It is them. And I listened to it, another channel, The Little Shaman. She is excellent. Very, very good. She has given me so much good advice. I would highly recommend listening to her, among others. There are several. But she specifically said, feelings are facts to a narcissist. And that has clarified a lot for me. Because he would wake up from having nightmares and bad dreams or whatever, and he would instantly just start sending me text messages. And you're not at work, really. I know I went by there, and I would know he didn't go by there because I was there and he didn't show up. And, he would just make up all kinds of lies and be accusing me of things. And I'm thinking, why does he think this of me? And he was always accusing me of sexual, infidelity. And yet in our personal life, he was never available to me sexually, barely ever. And what he would call a grudge, F-U-C-K, occasionally. I mean, when I was pregnant with our daughter, he wouldn't touch me for 9 months, literally, from I think I was 5 months pregnant on till she was 4 months old. He would not go near me. And then there have been long periods like that since then, in the almost 5 years we've been together, 4.5 years, and he's always withholding. It's withholding, and it's not just sex. It's withholding all emotion. It's never hugging you or giving you a kiss like he was your partner, like an actual romantic kiss. It was no foreplay unless it involved him. The pleasuring him part of it is fine, but there is no foreplay that would be geared towards me, ever. There never has been. And just very distant feeling. Like I have been in relationships. I know the difference. I know what it feels like to be in a relationship where someone loves you or even desires you. And I know this is not it. So, when you have all of these things going and you live this way and you finally come to a determination that, why do you feel so committed? Like, in my case, I have literally asked him to leave many, many times when he, has a bout of rage and goes on a rampage calling me every name under the sun. And I will just be fed up and I will tell him, that's it, I'm done. But the problem with our situation is he has nowhere to go and he lives in my house. It's my house. And I've owned this house for many, many years. And it's not, it's not my fault that you don't have a house to go to. But he, uses that as an excuse. And if he's done anything there, then he thinks he owns half of it, or he thinks that it's terrible that he should have to leave. And I've actually left my home. I've left my home many times. I'm fortunate that I have apartments, and I have actually gone and stayed. I stayed in one of my apartments for, I think it was about 5 or 6 months one time, and then I cracked and went back to my house. And so, I have tried all kinds of different avenues, and even, I feel guilty even saying that sometimes I want him out, because I am a caring human being. I don't want to see someone be kicked out on the street, even someone that's been so cruel to me. And I don't know, but when you live this way and you live second guessing your every word so that you don't say anything that upsets them, or if your kids your older kids are on speaking terms at all with him, where they come anywhere near your house, because most of the time they're not allowed there, because he's mad about something. But when the rare occasion occurs that they actually can come around him, and you're coaching them before they enter the room, do not say anything about this, do not talk about that, because his view on everything is ugly and bad, and he always has the most negative, evil, disgusting slant of everything. And so, you try to keep the conversation very limited, so he has nothing to hold over your head or their heads at a later date, which is common for them. My relationship feels like, for the most part, the love bombing part of it was so, maybe didn't even really get off the ground. I mean, I think he's a master at doing the absolute minimum required to hook somebody. Like he prides himself on that, because there wasn't a whole lot of love bombing. I mean, he thought he was God's gift to women sexually, when the truth is nope, he's not. He's very selfish in that regard. But anyway, he has a big head. He thinks, highly of himself in that way, always. But from that point on, from very early in the relationship, and then having our daughter sort of bound us and stuck us together to where we are now, where I think I would have fought harder to get him out if it wasn't for her, and the fact that she loves him and he seems to love her. His love for her seems to be genuine. So to say all of that, it feels as if my relationship is hanging in the discard phase, like it's been in the discard phase for all of this time. I live with someone who tolerates me, who I know is not happy about my accomplishments, who is not a partner to me, not in the way I need him to be. It's Christmas right now, and he's actually purchased several gifts for me, but he can't understand the basic concept that I would rather not have those gifts, and I would rather have you get along with my children so they can come to my home, or lay down and put your arm around me at night, or tell me that you're proud of any of my accomplishments, just any one of them, pick one, or stop calling me names, or all of those other things that I would much rather have in my life. He can't grasp. He's focusing on that. So I'm saying all of this because I don't take the topic of cheating lightly. But at some point, when you've tried counseling, when you've tried talking it out, when you've tried altering your behavior to the point that you can't think of anything you haven't tried, and you realize that you alter your behavior every second of every day that you're around them, because you don't notice it as much until someone comes over, until someone on the outside comes in, and you realize how you're worrying and fretting that they may say the wrong thing that you will later have to hear hours of rage over, because of how he interpreted what they said. So that's when you start to think, this is not a relationship. I've asked you to leave. I've told you I don't want to be in a relationship like this. I've called you out on the fact that it's obvious you don't really love me as a person. I've tried to get you to say nice things about me or to me, and you can't think of anything. And your excuse is always that you can't, well, I can't do it now because I'm mad, but you never make up for it later. You don't reach out to me in a way that is loving at all, ever. And so then you say, what if I did? What if I did step out? What if I did at least cultivate other friendships? What would that do to my self-esteem? Would that help my self-esteem? What if I spent my time around someone who respected me, someone who accepted me for who I was, someone who, gave me back a little bit of my self-esteem? What if? And so I guess that's my question today. I would love to know your thoughts. Please subscribe to my channel and please give me some information. I would love to know what you think about acceptability of cheating on a spouse, or boyfriend, significant other, girlfriend, who is a narcissist or is verbally abusive or emotionally abusive or physically abusive to you. In a relationship in which you are trapped and you feel that you've done everything you can do to get out and you are still there for whatever reason. I mean, my reasons are because, truthfully, my reasons are because I have not gotten the courage to pursue to the level I would need to get him out, and that is court and restraining orders, and he always threatens a smear campaign, as every narc does, and those are the things that scare me. And so I'm stuck in a relationship because I haven't gotten the courage yet to step out and take my daughter, who will resent me for it, away and do what I have to do to get him out of my house. So here I am stuck in this situation, and everybody has their own different version of being stuck. But I do want people to contemplate what is the best thing for me at this point? Is the best thing for me at this point to continue in a relationship with this person on a daily basis where I have no other information to input into my brain than what the narc tells me? I have nothing else going. I have no positive information coming from anywhere. All I have is negative. And if that is what I'm left with, how long can I survive in that type of an environment? So I would say to you, I will say where I'm at. When I stayed at one of my apartments, which it's been probably 2 years. No, it's been 3 years ago now. So that was how soon it was for me to get out, in a long-term way. When I stayed there, I began talking to a few people because I was convinced that was it. I had told him I was done. And so I felt confident about that. And so I began talking to a few people. And when I decided I was going to go back, because he was relentless in his pursuit of getting me to go back, because, I'm such a good source of supply, and because of his daughter, something in me knew that it wasn't the right thing to do and that I had gone too far. I should just keep walking, so to speak, but I didn't. But I made a conscious decision to not stop talking to those people. And I still have a few people that I talk to, but in my heart of hearts, I feel like I don't owe him I don't owe him my fidelity, but I feel as if I did step over the line, that I would then become everything he has called me. So I am stuck in a place where it's like you're looking over the fence, and you have people that are normal, that have normal jobs and are courteous to you and kind to you and say nice things to you, and people that you go to when you do have an accomplishment you want to share, and that, do tell you good morning and I hope you have a good day and good night, sleep well, different types of things just that make you feel human. But yet that's as far as I can go. And I'm to the point where I almost feel like as if maybe that's what I need to do. Dr. Phil says, do not end another relationship do not start another relationship until you end the one you're in. And I've always, felt like that was a pretty pretty good, solid advice, but I wonder, of course, he would probably say, get your big girl panties on and do what you need to do. And I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's what should be done. I don't know. Is your self-esteem, would it be restored, or would you just become the person that you've been accused of being all this time? And after almost 5 years of enduring the whole you're cheating, you're a cheat, you're a whore, you're a slut, who would want you? That always has to go with, you want to say, if I'm such a whore, or if you think I'm so terrible, where am I getting all these people that you think I'm sleeping with? If you really believe that no one would want me, then where am I getting all these people? Because usually he will follow up with it. If you are talking to anybody, they're desperate. That's what he usually will say. So how faithful and how committed do we owe the narc to be? That's my question. So I would love to hear what you have to say about that. That's all for now. Let me know. Take care. I'll see you next week.